I've been meditating a lot in the last couple of weeks on the core of the gospel, which is that Jesus conquered, he destroyed sin, Satan, and death. In fact, the very first prophecy in the Bible is way back at the beginning in Genesis chapter 3, verse 15, that says her offspring, talking of Eve, is going to crush his, that is the serpent's head. And the serpent is the devil. And that's exactly what Jesus did. He crushed the head of the devil. He's completely defeated and conquered sin, Satan, and death. It was actually those three things that took him over, and he was given to what he volunteered, but he was given to these three things: sinful men, Satan's plan, and death itself. But then bursting out of the grave 3 days later, he destroyed each one. And now he stands victorious as king. And he is coming back one day to rule his kingdom in its fullness. And so each person on earth is either against the king as a rebel or in allegiance to the king. And by the way, a simple definition of faith is allegiance to Jesus. That's a really important part of faith, is just allegiance to King Jesus. And when we're in allegiance to someone, we participate in their kingdom, so we get what they get, the benefits of the kingdom, and we do what the king says in allegiance to him. And so I've been if you're a father or mother, or spiritual father or spiritual mother, these three things are great to pray into in thankfulness, and to train and to teach and disciple your people to be praying into these things. Thank you, God, that you conquered sin by the power of Jesus and his resurrection. Thank you that you crushed Satan's head, and thank you that you've defeated death. And an unbeliever, someone who doesn't believe in Jesus, is one way to characterize them is that they are, and this, I'm going to make this very practical, they are trying to deal with sin and deal with their demons and deal with death by themselves, by their own strength, perhaps building their own kingdom. So starting backwards with death, people either deny it, close their eyes, shut their ears from it, pretend like it's not there, or they try to prolong life. And so building our own little kingdom with our own little ways, we're trying to deal with death. And it's not working. We still die, average age maybe around 70 or 80. And people try to deal with their own demons, and people try to deal with their own sin, their fallenness. They're missing the mark. So either we're going to participate in the life of Jesus and in union with him, reign with him, and also take victory over these three things, or we will continue in our own way to try to deal with these three things on our own, as individuals or as communities of people. And so that's the choice that we have before us, is are we going to pledge allegiance to King Jesus and participate with him in his reign over sin, Satan, and death, or are we going to be subject to them, given over to them rather than given over to Jesus? So that's a question that I leave for you today, both for yourself and for those that, if you're a leader that you're pouring into, is where are you at? Would you describe yourself as trying to break these things and undo them on your own? Or are you in a place where you're looking to Jesus, you have faith in him, and you're accepting the reality and the gift of him having conquered them, you being in union with him, therefore you having conquered them? So then, and if you're a believer and a follower of Jesus now, you're no longer trying to, by your own power, right? That's how it is in the kingdom of darkness. It's darkness trying to do away with darkness. It's the blind leading the blind. It's self trying to undo self. It's ego trying to cut off ego. It's like trying to cut off the tree branch on which you're sitting. It just doesn't work. And so being a believer or a follower of Jesus, what you need to do is walk in thankfulness that this is now your inheritance, and your right and your destiny, and meditate on it, praying to God in thankfulness to King Jesus. And more, you will then grow into the opposite. So righteousness, and instead of demons, becoming more like God, and instead of death, moving more into the life, the kingdom of life, and life to the full.